Hi, everyone. Welcome to the stream today. My name is Miriam. I'm the founder of QUOKA, and we're chatting with Greg, the founder of coupleupnow.com, doing a user research interview for QUOKA. How are you, Greg?
Pretty good, actually. Today I've been getting some good support from a platform that I'm using, and that's really helped.
That's always good. Yeah. Support is key. I make a lot of choices based on what platforms I use based on their support. Just, because I need help a lot.
Yeah, I understand that feeling.
Yes. Well, I really, again, appreciate you taking the time to chat. As you know, I'm in user research trying to improve my product, and this user interview will help me really kind of understand the product, and your honest feedback is really important. We're broadcasting the conversation live, so anyone else who's interested in solving this problem can access our research as well. I'll try to keep the questions pretty informal. I'm just trying to learn from you today. And I'm not testing you. There's no right or wrong answers. You've done user research interviews before, I assume.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the kind of work that you're doing at Couple Up Now?
So basically what it is it's a dating app that instead of doing the swiping that you do back and forth on, Tinder, Bumble, etc., and then eventually getting a match, and then eventually texting with those people, and then after a week or two or three of texting, they often just ghost you. Basically, what Couple Up is you get on what looks kind of like Zoom every Wednesday at 8 p.m., and you chat with 5 people for 5 minutes apiece that are a good fit based on your values. And at the end of each 5 minutes, you say, yes, I want to go on more dates with this person, or no, I do not want to go on more dates with this person. And you give a little feedback about what it's like with them. And so you don't do almost any of that usual rigmarole. There's no, well, which person is it in their 7 different photos with their 3 bros or their 12 bridesmaids or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's none of the, well, they put a blank profile, so obviously they're not that interested in dating. It's also exclusively for people who want long-term relationships. So there's no, well, I'm going to be visiting Chicago next week. Let me find someone cute to hang out with, or any of that.
Right.
And so it's, and I should say, after you match with a person, you can then send them voice messages rather than texting, because texting with someone you don't know is almost useless. And also, after each video speed date, you answer a question about your values. So you don't have to do any of the, let me write about I like long walks on the beach and, that kind of thing. And we use your values to match who you should talk to, because honestly, you can't really figure out a good algorithm for who's going to find who attractive. Mm-hmm. But you can find a fairly consistent algorithm for, your values are religion really matters to you. Great, let's have you talk to people like that. Or religion really doesn't matter to you. Whatever the case may be, you're conservative or liberal, you're very vegetarian, or you're rather a carnivore. Everything that kind of falls into simple categories is what we use to match people, and things that matter. So, do you like heavy metal? Yes or no is not one of our values questions. Because that really doesn't matter that much. Even, if you really love heavy metal, and I'm personally not a person like that, then you can still have a great relationship with someone who does not agree with you on whether or not heavy metal is noise or music. And, same thing for, do you like spicy food? Or, what's your favorite kind of cuisine? Where do you want to travel to? Like, all of those things are very classic things to put on your profile on a dating app. And they're also almost always the things that don't matter. So we really focus on what does, and also what really doesn't change that much over time. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say values, not preferences.
Yeah. And so, how long have you been building this?
So I started working on it last summer and did a bunch of validation, literally using Zoom. And, would just get people on the Zoom call and put them in breakout rooms and then gather feedback afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That actually led me to one interesting realization that I can tell you about if you want. But doing that validation was, I think, most of last summer and probably last winter. And then starting this year, I basically went and learned Swift, which is the programming language I'm using, and started building an iPhone app. And right now it's in a private alpha, only available to 30-year-olds in San Francisco, because I want to keep it really narrow and just start very slowly.
Yeah.
And then once I can get it out of alpha and into at least a beta, then I'll open it up to more people in the Bay Area, maybe even, people in a few other areas, and take it from there.
Yeah, I'm on your waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
I know it. I've been on it for a while. So.
Yep.
Keep building. Keep building.
That's the plan. Trust me, that's what's going on this week is getting a lot of help from a support team, actually from an engineering team, and then, trying to figure out, okay, how do we make this work? Because, there have been a bunch of really gnarly Heisenberg bugs that have been not fun to try and solve.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, ideally, I'm not single by the time you roll out to my area. But given my track record,
Well, I hope you are not single, but if need be, we will be able to help.
Perfect. I love it. And you're part of a few founder communities, right? Correct?
There's a few that I'm part of, mostly in terms of like Slack groups. I'm not part of any incubators or accelerators.
Right. And we met in the Indie Worldwide.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. What is going on here? Hold on a minute. This is the wrong layout. There we go. Okay. So these questions are all about true or false. Very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me, oh yes, true, false, whatever, whatnot. So, true or false, being an entrepreneur is fun.
That helps. Thank you. That was a little hard to read. Yes, it's definitely fun, and yes, it's definitely hard.
Do you feel understood as an entrepreneur?
That's such a. It depends on the context. I guess overall, I'd probably say no.
What about listen to?
Yeah, again, that's one that I would say it's so dependent on context. I don't really know if I'd say yes or no for that one. Probably yes. I don't know. I kind of go, I keep alternating. So we'll go with yes.
Okay.
Mostly no. Definitely depressing at times, yes. Feel pressure. I definitely don't feel pressure to. I have some interest in it because I'd like to be connected to more founders for some of those reasons above.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's part of why I'm an entrepreneur, and it's been a lifelong motivating force. Sorry, when it takes me a few days, to reply to someone asking for my help, it causes me to feel guilty. Need some commas there. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Need a comma at least after help.
Right.
So you're asking if it took me a few days, it would cause me to feel guilty?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, I think might want to ask if I do have that delay.
You're like, look, I always get back to people in 24 hours.
Well, it very much depends, and that's why I'm kind of going, how much do I do that? If
Right.
it takes me a few days, honestly, I think if it was a week, if it was 2 weeks, then I would start to feel guilty. But if it's 2 or 3 days, no. But again, this is where a true false doesn't really work well because it's very nuanced.
Okay. That's good feedback. And this one has an error in it I need to fix as well. I feel pressure to appear like I know what I'm doing as a founder entrepreneur.
Definitely, and I also am doing a lot to try and combat that with kind of the building in public concept and sort of mindset, and just being kind of like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, but yeah, lots of pressure.
Totes.
Definitely not feel confident. I do have a couple people, but it's definitely not a ton. So, and frankly, one mastermind that I'm part of is probably going to end very soon. So I would honestly say false, even though I do have a couple people. I don't have sort of enough that I feel stable in that. Comfortable asking for help when I need it. So this is another one where that's maybe not the best way to get at what you're wondering, because I feel extremely uncomfortable and I am asking for help quite a bit by just pushing through that, because I have definitely learned if I don't ask for help, I will usually stay stuck, and people are not necessarily all that excited about helping. Sometimes some are, some aren't, but like it's not nearly as dangerous and painful and scary to ask for help as I feel like it is. So do I ask for help quite often? Yes. Do I feel comfortable when doing it? No.
Okay, yeah, that's a really honest answer and super appreciated. Yeah. What do you like best about being an entrepreneur founder?
I would say working on something that is my dream as opposed to someone else's dream. And yeah, actually, I guess I was just going to say that a different way. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool.
There's probably something else around kind of being able to focus on what I care about that is like not just the dream, but like what feature am I going to build, you know? But yeah, that's a little repetitive, so can go with that. Excuse me.
Okay. And what do you like least? What's the most challenging aspect?
That is a much longer list. One of the most challenging things is figuring out what to do next. Another one of the most challenging things is when I'm stuck figuring out what to do. And I mean that in terms of like, should I work on that thing I'm stuck on? Should I work on something else? Should I, who knows? And I think one of the other things that I find really challenging is when I'm not feeling motivated, which often is because I'm stuck or struggling with depression or overwhelm or anxiety, finding one of two things, either giving myself just the kind of permission to take, an hour off, the day off, whatever that looks like, because often I'm not going to get anything done. So I can either bang my head against a proverbial wall at the computer, or I could go somewhere else and recharge. But it's challenging for me to give myself that permission. And if I'm really like, no, I really either have a deadline or some reason why I need to do this now, then figuring out how do I get myself to work on it? How do I, not just necessarily like, what should I do next? Sometimes that's very clear, I don't know, build the speed date feature. It's already built, but as an example. But if I'm stuck on it and I don't know what to do, then I'm just sort of like, I don't know where to go. I know what to do, but I don't know how. And that is one thing that I admit I miss about, at minimum, having peers, other coworkers that I could talk to and just say, hey, can you give you 5 minutes to just help me brainstorm how to get around this problem? Or even having a boss and being like, hey, boss, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Can you give me some guidance on here's what to do next? Or even here's how to approach doing that thing.
I know that feeling too, for sure. Oh my God, it sucks.
I'm getting a little bit better, and I mean very little, but a little better in terms of just being like, it's my time of the day where I just have an energy slump. I'm not getting anything done. Let's just get off the computer and just go away. At least go into the living room. If not, actually, I live in San Diego right now, so let's just go to the beach and like just get away from all of this and come back in a couple hours, recharged and actually like, I have an idea how to fix this, or okay, now I'm motivated.
Yeah, I know. And I love how you put it with like giving yourself that permission to do that and not feeling like you're not doing enough.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't know how often, so I guess I can't give you a number, but a fair amount of the time, I will have a conversation with either a family member or my therapist who will basically say like, sounds like you're stuck and you're in the time. So for me, from basically 2 to 4 p.m., I can almost never get anything done. Don't know why. But I've been this way for over a decade. And so in general, I just try and either only do meetings during that time or just get off the computer. But it's still, really, really hard to admit, this is my slump. I should just get off the computer. So I've moved from like 0% of the time doing that to now maybe 5% of the time, maybe even 10 on particularly hot days like today. But that's some improvement. I'll take it.
Yeah. It's a little bit better every day. Okay, this next one, if you were giving advice to someone who wanted to be an entrepreneur, what would you tell them they needed to fulfill their full potential?
That is extremely broad. Is there any area that you're thinking of, like in terms of mental health, in terms of how to build a good company, in terms of how to build a good product, which is two different things? Yeah.
I guess maybe those are great. So
Okay.
to fulfill their full potential, they need to have mental health. What?
I mean, I would say, I guess at a high level, they need to
product,
make sure that they have a therapist that they're seeing every week,
okay.
at least.
Yeah.
Because especially if they're a first-time founder or a solo founder or both, they're going to need support. In terms of building a good product, you want to go do a lot of validation, like go test as minimally as you can the product and see if people want it, see if people will pay you, which is a mistake I made. I didn't have people pay me for many versions of this. I've only done that a couple of times. But I did do a lot of validation, so at least give myself a half credit on that. What else? I guess the third thing I would say is make sure your product is meeting and solving a need as opposed to a solution in search of a problem. I think that's the big stuff I'd say.
Do you feel like you have everything that you need to fulfill your potential?
Absolutely not. The biggest things that I would say for me to really fulfill the potential that I personally have and that this product has would be, a technical co-founder, a marketing co-founder in particular, because that's really important with online dating. It's not with every product, but with this one it is. And there's probably something else major that I haven't got on the tip of my tongue. Those are the two big ones. 2 co-founders, or I suppose 1 co-founder that likes doing both those things, but whatever.
Right. Okay. When you need information or you want to learn something new that's related to what you're building or being an entrepreneur, where do you go for the answer?
I would start looking on Google first. So, I don't know what an example of this would be, but if I'm thinking about how to attract initial users, then I'm going to start with some Google searching. That would probably not be super helpful for this question. And then I would start looking, asking some of my entrepreneur friends and mastermind partners, buddies, whatever, people in my mastermind. If it was a more specific problem, I might start posting about it on Facebook, Twitter, probably not Stack Overflow unless it was really, really specific and technical. But there are things I have posted to Stack Overflow that were like, why am I getting a bug with this library in this way? Things like that. So yeah, basically search for it on the internet, ask friends, and then possibly ask different communities.
Does it take you to get the information you're looking for typically an hour or less, half a day, more than a day, a week, longer?
I don't really know how to answer that because it depends on the question. How do I get more initial users is a question I have been searching for the answer to, because there is no one answer, for, 6 months. Why am I getting a bug in a logging library I was using? Took me probably call it 2 days. I'm trying to think of another example. What are alternatives to the video platform that I'm using because I was having issues with it? That took me a week because I was looking at 20 different ones and looking at their code samples and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So, it depends on the context.
Yeah, it varies because there's so many different problems and things that you could need help and support with and different challenges.
Right.
So when you think about, okay, it takes you a day here, over a week there, and all these different problems that you're going out and getting answers for, the average length of time it takes you to get the information or support?
I can't answer that because I'd have to be able to remember every single thing I've been searching for, because there's stuff that, I'll find it in 20 minutes. What does this error message mean?
Right.
So, without more of a specific context of the kind of problems that you're wondering about, I can't answer that. I don't have any idea what the average length is.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be exact. A day, maybe, on average.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for you. It just doesn't. Yeah, I mean, some things take months, some things take weeks, some things take most of a day. Quite a few things take less than an hour.
Right. Sometimes you have to wait for everybody to get back to you. Whew.
Yeah,
Yep.
that too.
Yeah. Okay. Here's some other questions. Okay. How would you rate your overall mental health on a scale from 0 to 10 to 1?
Let's see. Probably a 3 or a 4. Yeah, probably a 3.
How does your response to the previous question make you feel?
So 0 is angry, 5 is, I don't know, neutral, and 10 is content.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, it doesn't have to make you feel angry necessarily, but just like, not 0 is like you're not pleased with that. Like that doesn't make you feel good that you rated it out of 3, and or 10 is like, well, it is what it is. I have
Gotcha. Yeah, because it definitely doesn't make me angry.
right.
Probably either a 1 or a 2. Yeah.
Okay. Now we can just choose out of these the ones that are negatively impacted when you feel less than great mentally.
So far, it's all of them. I'm just reading through. Budget, I guess probably not. I'm pretty careful about money overall. Romantic relationship, definitely. Okay.
Anything else?
I mean, it's pretty much, I would have said everything. And then when you said budget, I went, okay, I guess budget doesn't really, because I don't tend to, even if I'm, what do you call it? Doing retail therapy, I'm, buying a chocolate bar or something. I'm not buying, a Rolex where it's super expensive. So it doesn't affect my budget that much. Maybe I'll go out to eat a little more often or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it doesn't really affect budget, but yeah, everything else.
Yeah. Now we're going to select whether the following items have positive, neutral, or negative effect on your mental health.
Social media is definitely a combination. So I would probably say no effect because it's both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
The news is mostly no effect, but I'd say a little bit negative because I don't consume a whole lot of the traditional news. It's more blogs on various topics. Family's positive, friendship's definitely positive. Work is very mixed as well. It's my primary source of stress, but it's also one of my strong sources of enjoyment. So I guess you could say no effect. I'm not sure how helpful it is to be asking these questions in this way for work in particular. Volunteering and giving back is positive. Romantic relationships is also a strong positive and negative. When things are great, then they're great. When they're not, it's distracting me from work. So, again, I'm not sure this is the best way to get at some of these concepts, but what else do you want to know about?
Which one has the most positive effect?
Either friends or family. I think right now in particular, with COVID and having moved to San Diego and not made as many friends down here, I would probably say family at the most. Is the most at the moment. When I was living in San Francisco and didn't see family as often, then it probably would have been friends. So, combination.
Yeah. Definitely also, like, this was my first time doing a user research survey. So, and like, not now, but later, like, feedback on that, definitely appreciated. Any thoughts and things?
Sure. Yeah, happy to.
If you have time, I don't want to add another thing to your plate. Oh my gosh. So how many hours per week do you spend with your family?
That's surprisingly hard to calculate, because now I'm like, how often am I around them? Let's call it 1, 2, 9. Let's call it like, this is for a week. Yeah. Let's call it like 14 hours, because particularly, often dinners and, fair amount of the weekend. Help or support or manage. Seeing a therapist on a regular basis, weekly, I should say. Meditating every morning, which is down to 5 minutes a day. Let's see. Occasionally taking the afternoon breaks that I mentioned. What else? I think that's probably the major stuff. Oh, also not using my phone in bed. And I have a Kindle that I read on because I'm a voracious reader. And also I have an old iPad which can browse the web, but I basically just use it to play solitaire or spider solitaire before bed. And I don't really browse the web on it.
That's a good little trick.
Doesn't work for everyone, but it works for me.
TikTok. I'm like, ooh, TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's bad.
A little TikTok before I go knock knock. I don't know if that make any sense. Oh my god, my jokes are lame. Anyways. Okay. Do you use any applications or websites to help mental health?
I think it's Insight Timer is the app that I use for, it's Insight Timer, for meditation. Originally, I was doing a lot of guided meditation. Now I honestly just use it as a timer with bells. So it, every minute it makes a sound, and then at the end of 5 minutes, it makes another sound. Excuse me. What else do I use? I'm using, I don't remember the name, but I'm using a app in the morning to help me do my morning routine. So it'll say like, ding, now it's time to meditate. And, 5 minutes later, ding, okay, now it's time to get up and make your bed and, whatever, that kind of stuff. So it's really just like go through the steps, but not just in a checklist. That's been helpful. Is there anything else I'm really using? I don't think so. I think that's the major one.
Okay. Can you tell me about a time you felt mentally unhealthy or imbalanced?
I mean, there's many times. I think, let me see. I think it was like a month ago. I thought I had solved a big bug that I was having with the video chatting on my app. Got it packaged up and available to my testers in the alpha, and did a speed dating event, and ended up, I think, not only not solving the problem that I had that I'd been trying to work on, but in fact finding a new, different problem. And that was at one point I was doing them on Sunday nights rather than Wednesday nights. And so I think all of Monday I could not get anything done. And I spent most of the day just beating my head against the wall trying to get myself to work, but I would procrastinate, do other stuff. And the few times I would be like, okay, I think I all right, I'm going to pull up, the programming language, and I'm going to start working on it. And I would just I couldn't get anything done, which of course then led to procrastination again. So, I don't remember if it was that time or another time, because I definitely have challenges with depression and anxiety and overwhelm. But I think it was that time. I turned off my alarm. So typically I get up at 8 a.m. I turned off my alarm and slept until I think 9:30. And typically my schedule is like 9:30 or 10 basically is when I'm sitting at my computer starting to work. So the whole day kind of ran late, and I just, let's see. I was feeling really depressed, really sad, really frustrated, very forlorn, very just this is impossible. I can't fix this. There's no point in even trying. One of the big dating apps is going to be just that Greg's got a great idea. Let's just copy his entire app and just, destroy it. And I don't even remember what else, but yeah, really just depressed and trying to remember. I think I stopped working a little early that day. So I think I stopped at 4, which is, of course, weird quirk of my biology. I have a lot of energy, 10, 9 or so until noon, get very hungry for lunch. Then I've got about an hour and a half of energy, so go until 2 or 2:30. Till 4 o'clock, I have no energy and no brain power if I'm trying to work alone. If I'm in a meeting, I can actually be on, but if I'm alone, I can't. 4 to 5, I get some more energy again, and then ravenously hungry for dinner, and occasionally, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I've got another burst of energy if I want to try and work. But that day, I had spent the whole day procrastinating and the whole day beating my head against the wall. And so when in theory I should get another burst of energy around 4 was, I think, when I just said, I'm done. And I just went and I think I actually took a nap on the couch. I don't think I even got outside to feel better. I was just, no, this sucks. Everything sucks. I hate this. Yeah, there was something else I was going to add, but I just lost it. So that pretty much fairly good summary of the day.
I appreciate you being vulnerable with me, and totally have been there with those just couch naps, and it's just it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to lay here on this couch right now.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Who do you, okay, well, you mentioned you have a therapist. I assume you talk to your therapist about your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And you speak to them every week.
Yep.
Is it in person that you go or virtual phone
No,
call?
it's on Zoom. I've been seeing her multiple years. I don't remember exactly when I started seeing her. But so for a long time, it was in person. She's in the Bay Area. When I actually, no, before I moved to San Diego, when COVID was starting, we went virtual, not surprisingly. And then when I moved to San Diego, obviously we're not doing in person from San Diego to San Francisco. So yeah, I still see her via Zoom, and she is very good and very, really helps me a lot. So I'm not planning on switching to an in-person therapist down here in San Diego anytime soon. Who knows? But it's really valuable.
Hmm. Do you need any support that you're not getting to help manage your mental health? Like what would that be if it is?
It's a good question. The main thing that comes to mind sounds a little silly, but honestly, it would be someone, uh, well, basically encouraging me to get off the computer during my slump and go do something more productive than just, kind of pounding my head against the keyboard and not making progress.
Hmm.
Um, there are occasional days where I can actually, get something useful done. But every weekday, I think, is one of those days. And so I should keep working. So it would be great if it could be, a Muse style headband that would be like, your brain patterns have dropped by this much percentage. Please get off the computer. Um, but failing that, like a quick cognitive test, so like some basic math problems at like 2:30 and then 3, or even, I mean, I've tried reminders of just like, it's 2:30, you should probably get off the computer, but so often I'm like, no, today is one of the days that I can actually be productive, because they happen. They're very rare, but I don't know, call it like 2 days a month, I will actually have like a really productive afternoon, 2 to 4. Um, the problem is that the other, I don't know what percentage, but 90-ish%, I think it's going to be one of those days, and it is not. And so I'm just like, no, I can power through. No, you can't, Greg. Get off. So
That's a
uh,
really good idea, though. I like that. A quick cognitive test. And then it's like,
yeah,
you failed. Your computer is now shutting down to protect
exactly.
you.
Yes.
That's so funny. Apple could easily build that into like
Oh yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even if it wasn't, that level of integration, if it was just like, look, here is your like acceptable range of, I don't know, reflex scores or like math scores or whatever, and it took you this much time to do this level of math, whatever. Here's where you are now. Like, here's
Yeah,
the good rate. You're here. Get off the computer. I'd probably be like,
right. A choice, but
okay.
at least you have the knowledge. Yeah, I would like to see some stuff like that too for like social platforms where it's like you're like maybe because they're listening to our voice, right? And now they have all of this voice tech and stuff, and it's like, okay, if my voice is like at a certain level, like that detects that I'm pissed off or something, I should not be posting on social media.
Yes. There's
Warning.
I don't think anybody ever built it, but there were at least jokes about how if you're sending a tweet or posting on Facebook past like 11 o'clock on a Friday or a Saturday night, it should ask you some basic, like, basic questions just to make sure you're sober. And so that
Yeah,
the next day you don't get, wake up to, or ordering from Amazon for that matter too. Um, I have friends that have had that issue.
totally. Oh my God, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, um, for me, I think, yeah, the biggest thing would be just like something that would effectively get me off the computer during those afternoon slumps. Excuse me. What else?
How much would you pay for that?
The challenge, I think, is it would depend on how effective it was. So if it was something that, like, I don't know, I would obey, the recommendation of, like, okay, work or don't work. Like 98% of the time, that would be a huge improvement. And honestly, after seeing that I was obeying it that much, I'd at least pay $10 a month, and I would probably pay 20 because it would be such a performance improvement for me. Up front, or if it wasn't that effective, probably somewhere between $1 and $10 a month, because it really depends on how effective is it. Like, honestly, if it could get me, 1 day a week regularly, I would be getting off the computer. That'd be a pretty big improvement. So, that would be like $1, $5, no problem. $10, it'd have to be more than that. And then, 4 to 5 days a week, it regularly gets me off the computer and I'm noticing my mental health improving. That's when it would be like, yeah, $10 a month is very doable, and 20 would even probably be worth it. Trying to think. I mean, I know literature says that in general, getting more exercise helps your mental state a lot. So something that would help me find a form of exercise that would work, because I have a double knee injury. Both knees have issues. So I can't run, do most of that kind of thing. Olympic lifting, I can't really do anymore either. So like the usual go to the gym stuff, I can't do. But yeah, something that would get me exercising more regularly would also be definitely valuable. What else? Definitely thinking of, pie in the sky solutions, not necessarily buildable, but like I would love it. Catching my negative self-talk. So I am, like most people, very hard on myself. You idiot, today is a day that you didn't get anything done in the afternoon. You should have gotten off the computer. I don't know what else. There's no way you're going to get this app off the ground. The woman you just went on a date with is way too cute for you. You don't have a chance with her, whatever the case may be. Something that could detect when I was doing that and then interrupt it in some way that helps me to halt the pattern of repeatedly thinking that way. Preferably even reframe it as well. But, I'm thinking of wasn't called Volt. I can't remember what it was called, but there was a watch band, a wristband basically, that you could get, that every time you did a habit you wanted to stop, so let's say smoking or biting your nails, you'd push a button on the wristband and it would zap you with an electrical shock. It is not a product that I ever wanted to buy, but conceptually it's interesting, especially if it could be automated. I would much rather a more pleasant pattern interrupt than getting shocked, but something that would go, hey, you're talking really hard to yourself. Stop it.
Totes. Well, I mean, I think one of the first things with reframing, which I love, is recognizing that you just said something negative.
Yes. And that alone is something I have worked on for over a decade with various therapists, and I have improved, and I am still really, really bad at. So, even just something that just goes, ding, hey, you're being hard on yourself. That would be amazingly helpful.
Yeah. It would be great if we taught it from childhood with children.
That too.
Let's just eliminate negative words from the vocab.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. But it would at least be helpful.
We could try it.
Yeah.
If you're like, negative things should maybe use to describe certain things, but like you don't use colors to describe how something feels or something. Never mind. Anyways, we're getting really off track. I'm so sorry. And we're at the top of the hour. Do you have more time?
I have a 3 o'clock call that I need to hop
Yeah,
on to.
totally. Exactly. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I will send you a follow-up email. Love to have you if you wanted to try QUOKA out, offer that complimentary to you as thanks. And is there anything I can do to support your work as well? You can always email me too, because I know you have a call. I don't want you to get stressed about being late.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, and I actually don't know much about what QUOKA does. So definitely look forward to your follow-up email, and we can chat more then. And
Okay,
definitely we can find some time to chat about doing user research interviews, because, yeah, I do a lot of these.
that would be wonderful.
Awesome.
Thanks, Greg. Enjoy the rest of your day, and just reach out anytime. I'm always around. We're in Slack or whatever. Just ping me.
Sounds good. Will do. Have a good rest of
Okay,
your day.
thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.